Okay, so today I'm going to talk on the Gold Hill mine in the Gold Hill Mining District of Tooele County. I've only collected there twice, but I've found it to be a very interesting place to collect. Oops, too fast. Given a location idea, I'm up here at this little yellow pin, and the Gold Hill mine is down here just east of the Nevada-Utah border and west of Salt Lake City. And closer in view, there's Wendover, Utah, Nevada. It sits right on the border. The Nevada part of Wendover's got all the casinos, and the Utah side's a little bit more straight-laced. Gold Hill mine is here. You come down 93A, you'll find a road sign pointing to Gold Hill. It's paved a little way, and then it's dirt road down to sit at the village, what was the town of Gold Hill, and the mine is just outside of that. There's the location of it. It's at the north end of the Deep Creek Mountains, and in the past you may have heard of it referred to as the Clifton Mining District. That's just a synonym for it now. Discovered in 1857 by people on an overland trail going through the Overland Canyon, and stopped and prospected. And some of the roads in the area still follow the old overland trail. And a lot of service deposits found in the area. And of all of the 50 plus mines that were developed, less than half recorded any ore shipments. Initial production was 1871, 1872, and it was shipped to a smelter at Clifton. The smelter moved to Gold Hill in 1874, and an additional 500 tons smelted. 1872, there was a mill built at Cane Springs, Alvarado, and Gold Hill. Then between 1895 and about 1906, when Western Utah developed, the copper company developed Gold Hill. From 1906 to 1916, they had a large body of copper ore was developed at 150 level. 1917, they brought a railroad into the area. The primary stuff that was mined there was really the large tonnages of arsenic ore at Gold Hill, and then the U.S. mines. And that was produced arsenic from 1923 to 24. And then with the collapse of the arsenic market, everything got curtailed. The U.S. mine reopened in 43 to 45 and shipped almost 99,000 tons of 15% arsenic ore. And you can see the percentages we had. That time frame was that they had that back open was to support World War II. This is from a portion of the topographic map of Gold Hill Quadrangle. The town of Gold Hill. This is the road coming over from 93A. Come on up around here, and then there's a road that runs on up to the Gold Hill mine. And a map, a portion again of a different topographic map that shows all the mines in the area. Gold Hill being right here. The U.S. mine, which was the other big producer in the area, is this area right here. And this is from a trip I took over there, my second trip, when I met John Dagenet, Bob Meyer, Wes Ganaway. This is coming down the road into the town of Gold Hill. And my understanding is there's probably 2 or 3 people living there now. This is up at the 300 level, and there's a haulage way from the now all closed underground openings. But from the 300 level out this road, looking the other direction, this was the upper end of the tram, and the ore was sent down the left to for loading on the rail. And this is a great salt desert, and a lot of that area out through there and on down around to the right is a restricted military area, so no exploring. In fact, the last time I was there, when we left, we hit the road that parallels their fence line, and very shortly out of nowhere, a black car showed up and followed us as long as we were adjacent to their property. That's Bob Meyer up on top of the red dump, which is at the 80 level. This is from the rim of the glory hole, looking across the middle pit to the south pit. And geologic map of the area. We've got this light orange, which is a granodiorite of Jurassic age. All this stuff labeled MO, Ochre Mountain limestone, which is Mississippian in age. And there's MC, which is Chainman shale, which doesn't have much shale in it. It's mostly quartzite. And this TD, which is this little guy right here, is quartzite feldspathic dikes of various ages, including leucogranite, quartz monzonite, which is what's at Gold Hill, granodiorite, granite, rhyolite, dacite, epilite, and quartz porphyry. And then there's TL, which is this little spot here, which is leadite and trachyite. TQ, which is all the darker orange, quartz monzonite. Then we've got some Cambrian Prospect Mountain quartzite up in this area. And all the dark purple is Eli limestone, question mark on whether it's tertiary or Oligocene. So the reference that I got, I bought the quadrangle map from Utah Geologic Survey, and there's a pamphlet that comes with it that really goes in depth in all of the geology of the area, the sequence of it, and the different mineralization areas and some of the mine production. All the yellow stuff is alluvial fans, other more recent deposits. Now, this is a drawing I made. It's after a drawing that was in the 93 Mineralogical Record article on Gold Hill, except theirs wasn't in color. So we got the quartz monzonite, we got the limestone, quartz veins, there's a jasperoid vein in here, more quartzite, and then the quartz monzonite porphyry dike that runs through. That was my first artistic attempt using my drawing tablet. From Google Earth, Gold Hill, the access road, and the mine itself. This is the glory hole, the middle pit area, and the south pit, and there's associated dumps with the south pit. At the 300 level, there's a nice place to park and camp, and there's a nice concrete slab there that's great for putting your camp stove on or using it as an anvil to break rock on. You've got the trail coming up to the glory hole. A closer view of it. And here, that's the red dump associated with the 80 level. The dump that's associated with the 150 level, but the dump doesn't have anything worthwhile on it. The 300 level goes in here, and the 30 level is up here. All the underground openings have been closed for a number of years. And a version of what was in the mineralogical record on the different assemblages. This does not cover all the minerals that are found there by any stretch. And there's a few things that are now questionable. The Tometskite, once gartrellite was discovered in Australia, and they took a look at the Tometskite from Gold Hill, they discovered it was gartrellite. It's still listed here, but according to the late Bill Wise, everything that he analyzed turned out to be gartrellite. And then the other interesting one, the Phillipsburgite, the new mineral, very new mineral, gold hillite. Again, Bill Wise examined a lot of Phillipsburgite at Gold Hill, and it was all phosphorus deficient. So there's a possibility that most, if not all, of the Phillipsburgite may be gold hillite. There's the overall list for the minerals at Gold Hill. Type locality for the austenite, juanitaite, gold hillite. And Mendat breaks it down into the different collecting areas. Somehow or other, I missed oh, it's hiding up here under my bar at the top. Move that out of the way. That's the glory hole list. And a lot of the stuff in the glory hole could have come from the old 80 level. The list for the middle pit. See, they've got gold hillite and Phillipsburgite listed. That possibly could change in time. And the list from the south pit. I found one piece of silver when I collected there the first time, and I was trying to split the piece down, and that piece of silver departed for parts unknown. The 30 level. And in the 80 level. In the 110 level, which you can access from the, used to be able to access from the 150 level. And then the 150 level. And from the 300 level, you can find some of this stuff on the dump that's associated with the level there. Okay, because there's three minerals there that can be rather confusing. There's adamite, zinc arsenate, and that structure. Oxygen, hydrogen, purple's the arsenic, and the dark or the gray is the zinc. Then there's olivenite, a copper arsenate, oops, went too far. And its structure. I don't know why they've got phosphorus up here. They don't show it. And we got then austenite. And its structure. So it's got both the copper and zinc. And here we have some yellow adamite. And some colorless adamite. And some yellowish green adamite. This is a colorless adamite. This is probably arsenio-siderite that's imparting the color tinge to the adamite crystal. A colorless one on pteridolite. And some colorless elongated adamite crystals. Here we have arsenio-siderite, all this coliform stuff, and then on the albanite. So arsenio-siderite's not one of the spectacular minerals there. And we've got austenite. This is very pale green austenite on quartz. This came out of the middle pit. Another group of austenite. And here we've got colorless austenite rosette on some pale yellow adamite. Some of the Cooperian austenite. Baharonite AL. This is an interesting mineral. The type locality is in Spain, but it's actually first found at Gold Hill. I got this from Dr. Don Howard, who collected it many years ago. There was analytical work done on it, but they were not able to solve the structure. And when the Spanish material was discovered and described, they went back and looked at this and determined it was Baharonite AL. The iron version doesn't occur at Gold Hill. And this is found at the 80 level. Then we got yellow cubes of the Baryopharmaca siderite. And some more. The barite I found on the dumps outside the 300 level. And another barite. Baldenite, cluster of dark green crystals. And this one I find rather interesting. This is not one I found, but it was supposed to be budandite. Well, kind of curious about the elongated crystal form on it. Of course, budandite can also be found as yellow stringers. So, but that was the dark brown was supposed to be budandite. And there's budandite that's got more typical crystal form to it. This is on quartz. I had a double of time getting this without having flare all over the place. Brochantite. And another one. And calcite. Carbonite on scorodite with a bit of gartrellite. And some deeper red gartrellite or carbonite on scorodite. And chalcophanite in the nice lustrous plates on heterolite. And the more typical chalcophanite assemblage, just hexagonal, just a mass of hexagonal plates all jumbled together. And calargyrite. Another chlorargyrite with some cornwallite. And conocalcite on a Japan Law twin quartz. It's not a nice freestanding one. Both wings of it are pretty much buried in the matrix. There are several other Japan Law twins on the piece. Another conocalcite. Now I saw an interesting remark, and I went searching for it. It was either on Mindet itself or on their Facebook page. I believe it was by Alfredo Petrov in response to either it might have been one of my photos, although I didn't find the comment on it, or on a new mineral description. But essentially his comment was that we should probably analyze some of our conocalcites and find out that they're carnubite. More conocalcite. It's on quartz down here with a calcite crystal. Now these are interesting. You've got conocalcite with little spikes of austenite coming out of them. The mineral world's version of the coronavirus. And then we've got nice blue canelite hexagonal prisms with juanitaite plates. And out of the view on here, there's also some pyrrolite. And then there's some vesicular canelite. And we've got the dark green cornwallite with mixite. Gartrellite. Never did get a good sharp picture of that. More typical gartrellite, which is in the scorodite, associated with some carmonite. And from up at the 30 level, a little bit of gold. And a bit more. Hemimorphite. This is from an older collection. It's I picked up off I believe the dollar table at the 2019 NCMA meeting. Hidalgoite, It's the bubbly yellow mass. And here's a whole bunch of Juanita-ite plates with a bit of tarrolite. And malachite, quite common there. And a nice little quartz crystal on the malachite. I think that's the last malachite. Yep. Colorless mimetite crystals with gartrellite and carbonite. It's all in a scorodite matrix. Now, this is another one out of an old collection that was on the dollar table in 2019. And we've got more mimetite on here. You can see some of the scorodite is crystals, a little bit of carbonite. And two groups of mimetite with carbonite and gartrellite. This more earthy yellow, which is showed quite bright in here, maybe arsenio-siderite. Mixite with a lot of chrysocolla around it, and what looks like hemimorphite. It's been replaced by the chrysocolla. Several sprays of mixite. And we've got mixite with cornwallite, conocalcite. Mixite with cornwallite. Some real fine mixite with conocalcite. Nitroformicosiderite. A number of years back, Stuart Mills, when I believe he was at UBC, approached our Northwest micro group and wanted us to supply some of this material to him to analyze. So Don Howard sent him a bunch, and it did analyze as the nitroformicosiderite. albanite with cornwallite. With calcite. Actually, based on a trade I made with John Toma, I wouldn't be surprised if this were analyzed, it would turn out to be carnubite. And a pincushion of olivenite. Phillipsburgite, which in light of what Brent Thorne told me and the description of gold hillite, this might possibly be gold hillite. And some quartz. And not in this view, but there's also austenite on the piece. And rutile on scorodite. These little cubes, probably one of pharmacosiderite minerals. But there's also a few spots in here that look more like the gartrellite. It's all on scorodite. And you can see these are quite small. Scorodite crystals with some carmonite. And some frosted scorodite crystals. Thomsite. Another Thomsite with, it's got a little bit of calcite over here and some quartz over here. Tyrolite. This is part of a piece that I collected in the 150 level when I was there with Bob Myers, Wes Ganaway, and John Jagenet years ago. And some real nice tyrolite with cannellite. And some zalassite. Another one. And zinc olivenite. And another one. On these, probably the only part that's zinc olivenite is this green streak in the middle. The rest of it's probably, the lighter stuff's probably just adamite. and all of the references that I used to put this together. And this is anybody interested in the overall geology of the area and get more into the detail than I went in, these are the references to look at. The geologic map, the Gold Hill Quadrangle, and the mines, prospects, and workings of the Gold Hill Quadrangle. And that takes care of that.
Thank you, Doug. That was excellent.
Awesome. Very good.
Very nice.
Hasn't changed much. I was just there a few months ago, and it just looks exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
There may be 4 people living in Gold Hill now. I'm not sure. It looked like more than 2, but not very many.
Well, I read one piece that said 2 or 3, and that piece was from a few years back.
A little worried with those low numbers that they can't even work out how many people are living there.
They don't want to be found out.
Yeah.
That's right.
There
They
was
live out there for a reason.
There was a guy that was still operating one of the mines there for gold up until, well, at the piece I was reading, was a few years back, and he'd come in with a crew of people so that when he was working, the population would go up. But if you want to go to collect there, the first time I went was in mid-October, and it was still in the upper 80s and low 90s, although that's not typical for mid to late October. And then we went from there, we went from there over to Topaz Mountain, and then over Garnet Hill outside of or over Nevada by the Ruth area, and it was 10 degrees at night. 10 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was out there in late May one year and we got chased out by snow.
Yeah, I've heard that from people. The other trip I made with Wes and Bob Myers and John Dagenet that was also in October, and the temperatures were more seasonable. And I was on another trip that was going to go to Gold Hill, but I left to go to the NCMA meeting. But when we were at the Willard and Chalk Mountain areas, it was, well, in the Willard, it was probably 110, 115.
Wow.
And that was in June. So
when I was there at Gold Hill in late June this year, the temperatures at home here in Washington were 110-ish, which, just crazy. But it was only 85 or 90 at Gold Hill. It was a perfect place to be. I was lucky, really lucky.
the one thing I wish is that I had access to somebody that could do testing on some of this stuff, like the Conokel site that Alfredo says probably should be checked to see if some of it is carnubite. And
the Phillipsburgite.
Pardon?
Yeah, and the Phillipsburgite. I'm really curious about that. I collected some of that stuff that Wes told me. I was there with Wes Ganaway as well, and he told me he thought that was Phillipsburgite. So it'd be really interesting to find out.
Well, according to Brent, who's pretty much of an expert on Gold Hill, and he talked a lot with the late Bill Wise, and Bill's the one that said that all the Phillipsite he checked, and I don't know how many pieces that was, but all of it was phosphorus deficient.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's also the one that's doubts very much that there's any tungstite there, that it's all gartrellite. Unfortunately, well, of course, we lost Bill here not too long ago, but even before that, he kind of disappeared out of the mineral world. We were talking about it that at NCMA in either 18 or 19, and reading his obituary, I understand why he got so involved with his grandkids and volunteer work. He used to go to the NCMA all the time, and our local micro group had him up a couple times to talk, and he's a real nice gentleman, very knowledgeable.
The last
I
time
didn't
I was
realize he
out
had
there,
died.
there were some interesting people living in Gold Hill. I don't know whether they're still out there or not. Just to the south of Gold Hill, a few miles down by Ibapaw, and then you cross the line over Nevada. There are lots of tertiary sediments over there. And I described a Miocene vertebrate fauna from over there, just hundreds of vertebrate fossils from over there. Doesn't have anything to do with micromounts, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, my wife and I went out there, and she loved it because up to this point, the collecting we had done was zeolites in Hawaii and zeolites up here, Washington Pass, which is little itty tiny stuff that she couldn't see. And she gets to Gold Hill, and we walk up to the trail into the glory hole, and she says, "Oh my God, there's color here."
Mhm. We get none of that in the Northwest.
Actually,
that's
this
what fascinates Canadians. I think that's why they go to the Southwest. There's color.
Damn the glaciers.
Yeah.
Actually, this fauna I had was found by rockhounds who were out there, and they were finding antelope, fossil antelope antlers or horns, and they were almost opalized, and so they were polishing them. They were slicing them diagonally and polishing them, and they were really pretty.
Lovely.
Do we have any other questions for Doug? No? All right.
Jolly good.
On that basis, we'll look forward to hearing about Mexican silver in 2 weeks' time from Jim. And until then, stay safe and catch you all soon.
All right.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.